most great founders have a very clear spike. They are not great at everything, but they're really great at something, and then they leverage that. So that's number one. Number two is they have a ton of drive. And drive is very different, I think, from passion. I think passion is important. It's great with passionate people, but we all know a lot of passionate people who never get anything done. So passion in itself is not enough. Drive is more, yes, you're passionate, but you also have that combined with raw ambition and the ability to execute. So can you see that people have moved things forward in the past, achieved different things, hit milestones, and are they really ambitious about solving an important problem and doing something really big? So that's number two. Number three is grit. Right? Great founders never give up. Right? They just keep on hammering.
Absolutely. We're not looking to use AI to replace lawyers. I mean, lots of fun and games in the press about that, right? New technology like this comes out and our knee-jerk reaction is to go full force and just, replace all lawyers. No, it's not going to work. But there's a whole bunch of high volume, low value, repetitive work that lawyers do every single day of the week.
We had a really deep conversation one day and say, well, what do we do if one day, let's say social media dropped off the face of the earth? Like, how do we remain a real legacy business and continue to have the impact that we have? And I mentioned it before, it's one of the things that still to this day, it doesn't matter what time or when we read them, when we see the impact that our work has had for a person, I get the same butterflies in the stomach and the same feeling of like, this is the reason why, this is our purpose, and I feel as though a lot of my purpose to be able to do this.
And, the COVID hit. And
yes.
Yeah, I don't think it will happen. Like one day when there's a digital human who could be very lifelike, very intelligent conversations, and it could be agentic, like the digital human interface that we're building could enable a lot of automations in just one screen, right?
This is AI Edge powered by Microsoft, an unplugged podcast series exploring how AI is transforming Asia's startup landscape. Each episode features candid conversations with founders and industry leaders who are pioneering the next wave of tech breakthrough. We'll delve into their personal journeys, uncovering what it takes to build successful ventures and scale impact in the evolving world of AI. Whether you are creating the next big thing or navigating the challenges of growth, this podcast is your front row seat in the future of AI. Let's get started. Hello, I'm Imane Eddine. I am Digital Native Pursuit Leader here in Microsoft Asia. With me today is Ivan Lau, Founder and Chief Executive Officer at Pantheon Lab Limited. Hi, Ivan. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Imane. It's a great pleasure to be here.
No worries. We've been engaging for some time now, and it's just amazing. You are today in Singapore, and we can record this episode for our audience. But first of all, tell me a little bit about yourself as well as your current company.
I was software engineer since after school. I had my entrepreneurship way back in 2010-ish. This is my first startup, actually, around 2019, 6 years ago. I was quite fascinated by a paper that was published that, AI could be a generative approach.
Yes.
Back in the days, it's all about the machine learning, classification, and all. But it was quite fascinating that I see, hey, all these synthetic media could happen, but it was a very early stage. So I kind of see that could be a future of how AI could be one strong driving force for the creatives, and it's like a new horizon. So I just dropped everything and started Pantheon Lab way back in 2019 when back in the days we don't even know how to call ourselves, right? Are we a synthetic media company in AI or deep learning but yeah, I mean, as at times goes, there's this generative AI industry, and yeah, I think we're part of it. And through all this time, we have been talking to a lot of potential clients on, how this generative AI could work in enterprises or your everyday life. And the more we talk to, I think we kind of found our niche is
Yes.
that we are trying to solve something that, again, we're not replacing human, but to help with a huge gap that is widening is the aging population where, there's a lot of seniors retiring with their knowledge.
Yes.
So a lot of knowledge were gone. And then at the same time, the low fertility rate happening globally makes the one segment, the operation layer, is in a lot of pain. Like we talk to a lot of COOs in enterprises, in public services. They were like, hey, if we could hire, we will hire. We don't even want AI at some point, but we just couldn't. Like people just come in and go, and the retention was expensive, and then there's a lot more choices for the young generations. Do they want to be in a 9-to-5 job, or do they want to be working for their own stuff, like self-sustaining economies, like deliveries, like being an Uber, Grab driver. So lots of choices, and
Yes.
if they work hard enough, they make similar salaries, and everyone's happy. So it is that little pain point kind of just propelled us with the bloom of generative AI. We started to focus in that segment, and here we are. We've been working quite a lot with especially public services, like different regions in in Singapore. We started in Hong Kong, and we see clients coming in from Taiwan, and this year we're expanding into Japan as well. With already one client, a major client in Japan. Yeah.
Wow, congratulations. It's kudos to you for your resilience. Driving a company for 6 years and going through the waves of AI from machine learning into Gen AI. And you were one of the first early adopters in 2022, 2023.
I would say so. It was tough in the early years,
Yes.
2019, the COVID hits. And
Yes.
yeah, I don't think it would happen. Like one day when there's a digital human who could be, very lifelike, with, very intelligent conversations,
Yes.
and it could be agentic. Like we could the digital human interface that we're building could enable a lot of automations
Yes.
in just one screen, right? That's something like pretty much out of everyone's imaginations before ChatGPT open up the market.
No, that's great. And talking about, skill work via skill workers, with the younger generation having so many options and a lot of choices between gig economy, like what you mentioned, or getting their own startups or working for corporates. Sometimes you don't see the skilled workers, or the skilled workers would retire and then the knowledge goes with them. But with your solution in that gap, you're bringing and democratizing the skill work, the knowledge. That skill is not gone just because somebody retires and someone else did not come in. Tell us a little bit more about the digital human. It's fascinating. The first time when I met you and you introduced them to me and I saw them in demos, that's really exciting. Tell us what, for example, real life problems a digital human will solve in your perspective.
One of the very demanding industry or sector, it has to be the public services. One of our first clients are airports and metro line operators, right? They really hit the pain point that we're trying to solve, right? Like basically they're like, if there is a digital concierge services or that could be in there 24/7, especially at the airport and the metro line. We can help them to relocate a little bit of the human resources to somewhere else. For example, say in a metro operator environment, we could be helping them with wayfinding. How do I go from station A to B. How do I go for that? Go to that building. What are some of the recommendations for food? I like Chinese food, Italian food. Tell me something about this region. Integrating into the trip planners, say, when is the next train coming? What interchange? Like how do you go there? So there's a lot of these kind of operation, issues, or how normal real human would help normally.
Yes.
We could basically solve like 80% of real human could do.
Yeah.
And where their cost would be less than a human would cost, and we can actually help them to create the outlook. Wearing the same uniform, having the brand color for the UI and UX experience, and different ethnicities.
Yes.
Could happen. Yeah, of course, the multilingual capabilities
yes.
that we kind of leverage Microsoft for that as well. For the text to speech.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, that's the interface. But then on the back is all the LLM, RAG, fine tuning to make sure that we cater to the enterprise, that it doesn't say anything wrong, especially in the public services sector. Like there's so much in terms of the reputation they have to keep, and then also the back is to us is all about the agentic. Again, we're at the tip of an iceberg basically right now. To just list what we have been doing, but then what we will be doing is enabling a plethora of automations via the agentic AI approach.
That's amazing. And while you're in Hong Kong and Singapore and Taiwan, now venturing in Japan with different culture, different languages, but the business problem is the same. The pain points is the same, if not more, with the Asian population, and they needing more robots, they needing more AI, and needing more agents. That's fascinating. When it comes to go-to market and co-selling and scaling your company and your startup, tell us a little bit about the good, the bad, and the learnings that you had while you are a success story when it comes to going from in Asia. I'm really keen, and also I'm sure the audience would be as well, on how did you get to that journey?
We're quite fortunate to be one of the earlier players in the game, right? So when I still remember 2023 when the world saw the Chat GPT, the first thing that came in everyone's mind was, okay, how do I get on with it, and how do I utilize all these generative AI technologies? And I think we were very lucky that we have been we happen to be an advocate in all these Gen AI space. Hey, this is the future, and I still remember before ChatGPT, we almost went bankrupt. Like there's no market.
Wow.
Yeah, like it was tough. But after that, I think the news broke out, and people start to search online, and we even got a very organic reach from Japan, like without us having anyone in Japan, and that's how we got the first customers without even a single cent of advertisements, and then since then I think we did again, I would say a very lucky bet is to go with the public services, where once we deploy a solution, millions of passengers or tourists, guests, visitors would see it, and then immediately hey, who did this for the companies, and then they found us, and I think we have been enjoying the whole organic momentum with all these generative AI requests.
Amazing.
And then now the bad is, I would say we at one point we were always at our full capacities, that we couldn't keep up with the demand, and we just had to start, turning down jobs and then I think these days when we are almost in a lot of the Asian countries, thinking of how do we reach out, how do we scale out, and that's I think why we are partnering with Microsoft on this, is that we are seeing a very large pool of enterprise clients that is matching what we are offering to the enterprises. So I would say we're at the stage that we need the partnerships. We want to be in an ecosystem to grow further. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And one of the things that struck me while you were explaining your journey is that you almost went bankrupt.
Yeah.
How did you overcome that? From mental resilience, from the decision, to stay and to continue, and you were at the right time for Gen AI to come. But tell us a little bit about, the hidden part of the iceberg that people don't really talk about when they see a success story of an entrepreneur.
I guess I was a bit stubborn. I think that kind of helped. If you put it in a good way, I'm a persistent guy. I think that, I kind of have a longer vision than the market could accept right now. I think at some point it will be there, but maybe I was a little bit too early. Maybe we didn't have enough resources to grow faster, but it will be there. So we couldn't keep the team. We had to downsize at one point. At the same time, we also identified the right teammates who will be sticking with you, try to get through the bottom, and deeply appreciate that. And the right team and the right vision were the keys, I think.
Setting up the company, it's been 6 years now. How about the founders who are looking into funding, seeds, VCs? What advice would you give to first-time entrepreneurs?
Again, I think the recent Gen AI momentum is a little bit different than a few years back when we tried to fundraise. I think for now, I think definitely you need your MVPs in order to really get people notice. I think last year, 2024, it was everyone was FOMOing into investing in Gen AI, where we see with the right proposal, with the right team of researchers and AI and the developers, you could get millions of fundings. But I think in 2025, that's kind of changed a little bit with all these turbulence happening, and all the right now there's a lot of players in the whole space. Like there could be 200 startups started in a week, and then maybe 5,000 closing in half a year later. So I think the investors are very cautious. So building up the MVP proved that there is a product market fit. Then raising would be much easier. I think that would be the right approach at this moment.
That's a really great point, but it depends on the year, it depends on the period, and when you will seek funding and investment.
I think we've also seeing a lot of self a one-man team that could raise a lot of money, or even like not needing to raise, like
Yes.
they could be using, for example, Assure's solutions. You could actually create your own startup with your own one man team.
Exactly.
And then there are success stories that we're seeing. I think this is just very different than 20, just a year ago.
And we had a roundtable this morning with 7 CEOs, and we asked which ones are backed by VCs and which ones are not, and it was 50-50, right?
Yeah.
It was fascinating. I thought that most of them will be backed, but there are founders who are bootstrapping, one-man show, and being successful and coming to Microsoft ecosystem. It was mind-blowing this morning to see it 50-50. So pivoting into the Asia, and I always say this is the Asian century, and we see innovation born in Asia rather than made in Asia now. Lots of innovation coming from here. You've been traveling across Asia, and you've seen customers across Asia, and your application is also applied and implemented across the board. Do you see differences of how your application is implemented depending on the country or the culture?
Yes, I would say the Asian countries, our solutions are much more welcoming in this region.
Wow.
Actually. I think it was because of the cultural, in general in Asia, like it's always about the face-to-face. It's always about the, having the real physical connections, right?
Yes.
So with a digital human in place, it actually helped a lot. Comparing to just a chat box or a voice bot. When there is like eye contact, when there is like, body gestures, when there are, all these movements actually makes the conversation more engaging.
Interesting.
And we've also went to different other continents as well. I mean, we were at the GTC events by NVIDIA last month.
Yeah.
We did see a little bit of a cultural difference, where some of the ones that we talked to, the adoption is still needed, but then I would say again the pace is changing very fast. I mean, again, just a month later, we start to receiving inquiries from the States, from Europe, from the UK. Implementing our solutions as well. So I think the fortunate thing is that maybe we started out in Asia to actually build like a proof of concept, region-wise, like a proof of concept that hey, it actually works. Because we're still here. I mean, and then we did all our POCs trials with a lot of all these giants, and they're not leaving. They're
happy.
They're happy, and they're I would say a majority of them are chatting with us on the phase 2 and making it like if they are POC, they're putting it into full production with us. So. And then we're seeing this is happening. I think other regions is happening as well. Yeah,
that's really awesome. I love the conversation. With our audience wanting to hear from veteran entrepreneurs like yourself. If I pivot again and ask you, what would you advise your younger self? And what guidance or coaching would you tell your younger self of 20, 30 years ago?
Well, 30 years ago, I think I was still a kid. But,
okay, 20 years ago.
But yeah, say if it's 20 years ago, that's where I started my first job. I would still do what I do. Is to because I want when you have an idea, like is only bring you maybe a little bit further than everyone else, but if you don't execute it, it's like it's always an idea, right? So if I were to tell myself back in 20 years old, I would actually tell myself to, hey, just start.
Just do it.
Just do it. Like why wait? Right? Like,
So
I mean, the earlier you start, even if you failed, your experience actually counts, right?
Yes.
Like, as founders or even in HR departments, we all agree that, when you had your own experience, you tried and failed, that is a very good experience.
Wow.
Right. And then, we would take them. That's, I would tell myself, hey, if I could start earlier, like maybe I don't start when I was 30, when I started in my 20s, like I got 10 years to try, right? 10 more years to try, right? I think I would tell that to myself.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
No, I love the conversation. Any final thoughts before we close?
Going forward, I think as a company, we are very excited. Like you touched it very precisely. Is like how are we scaling? Scaling out
Yes.
and like scaling up, right? That is
Yes.
that's the stage where we're at, and there's just so many opportunities happening. If anyone want to start, this is the moment. We just want to be, again, like one of the puzzles to impact the future a little bit. That's what we're doing, and we'll. I think we're in a good hands right now to work with you guys going into the whole enterprise space. Yeah.
Honestly, Ivan, we're a huge fan of you. We're a huge fan of of your solution,
Yeah.
and we really want to bring it to the market. And we've been strong advocates, whether for you going to Japan or anywhere else in Asia, if not Europe, US, Latin America. We really want to go with you to the market. I think your solution solves real problems. And I can't wait for the future and continuous partnership with you.
Oh, thank you. Me too.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into AI Edge by Microsoft. If this conversation sparked new ideas or insights, follow and share to stay connected to the pulse of AI innovation in Asia. Until next time, keep leading, keep building, and stay curious.